Hi everybody, welcome to Park It Theme Parks Edition. I hope you are enjoying this new year of 2020. I took a break in December, but I'm back, and for those of you who are new to my channel, the whole purpose of this channel is to help you maximize your theme park experiences. So today we're specifically talking about Disneyland. And the last time I went to Disneyland, which was recently, I wanted to make a list of more do's and don'ts because that video seems to resonate with a lot of you. If you haven't watched that already, you can watch Disneyland do's and don'ts. And I've decided that I'm going to go ahead and make a part 2 and a part 3. So today is the part 2. So we're going to talk about a couple of tips just to know before you go and upon entering the park. And then the majority of the tips are going to be things to look out for when you're actually in the park. And then I will finish off with tips that you should know before you leave the park. So it's going to be broken down kind of into those 3 categories. Upon entering the park, there's a couple of things. We're going to start with the do's first. The number one thing you should do before you go on your trip is to check the crowd calendar. And this was actually a piece of advice that was given to me by a really good research friend of mine who's very into researching Disney. And there's actually an interview that I did with her in my Disney World tips and tricks video. So I'll link that. You can either click in the corner or there's a link in the description. But my friend Nicole told me all about crowd calendars. And if you don't know much about crowd calendars, you should definitely research it. The one that I like the best is Undercover Tourist. I like how you can pull it up and it's super easy to figure out which park you want to search for, what month you want to search in. It's very user-friendly and it's really great. So that is the first thing that you're going to want to do before you even book your flight or anything like that, is to look at that crowd calendar because you're definitely going to want to go at a less crowded time. I was there during a very crowded time and it literally was wall-to-wall crowds. It really is not as enjoyable and you are going to spend a lot of time in line. I'll put a link in the description for undercovertourist.com. You can take a look at their crowd calendar. You're definitely going to want to take a look at that for sure. For those of you who have watched my other Disneyland do's and don'ts videos, you know that I'm a minimalist and I don't like to carry a lot in the parks. And one of my tips in that video is to carry as little as possible. And I still stand by this, but there are some things that you definitely want to bring. And one of the things that I really debated on for my most recent visit is a water bottle. And I have decided that you definitely want to bring a slender water bottle that can easily fit in your backpack or whatever you're using to carry around Disneyland. On that note, I wouldn't carry anything other than a backpack unless you want a sore back or unless you have a really lightweight purse or something like that. You can buy water, but then you still have to carry around the water bottle with you even if you buy it. And also it's just a lot better for the environment to bring your own water bottle. So just bring your own slender water bottle. There's plenty of water bottles now that you can buy that keep the water cold, and that's what I would recommend. So I didn't bring my water bottle last time. That was a mistake. So definitely bring one. Make sure that you have that because you are going to want it. Okay, now we're going to jump into tips in the park. If you are going to go to Galaxy's Edge, which a lot of people do, you're going to want to head there in the morning. Now granted, more people are going to be heading there in the morning, especially because the new ride is going to be open. So you are going to be competing with some crowds, but I will say that it is a lot less hot in the morning than it is in the afternoon. There's not very much shade, especially by Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, and even the newer attraction doesn't have a ton of shade. So if you want cooler temperatures, I would head there first thing in the morning. I have a whole list of observations from Galaxy's Edge that I want to share with all of you that I think you'll find helpful. So please subscribe to my channel. One tip that I have that I was thinking about this time that has changed from my last video is if you have a MaxPass and you get there right when the park opens, just head straight to an attraction. And then you can book your FastPass while you're in line for that attraction, because chances are that if you get there right when the park is opening, the wait times are going to be pretty short. So definitely take advantage of the shorter wait times in the morning and then book your first FastPass in line. I think the only exception to that is if you are traveling with a lot of small children or you have a huge group and you get off to a little bit of a late start and you can't quite get through the gate right when it opens, then you can probably book your first FastPass upon entering the park. I think it just completely depends on how many people you have with you and if you have small children with you, and how fast you're able to get to the attraction that you want to. If the attraction is really far away and you have a huge group and you have little kids and strollers and everything, then you may just want to book the FastPass right upon entering. But if you can hustle over there, then don't waste a FastPass for first thing in the morning. Just hop in line for that attraction. I wanted to give some tips about Pirates of the Caribbean, which is one of the most popular attractions at Disneyland. And there's definitely a reason for that. The line moves really fast, and it's a really long ride, and it's interesting, and there's a lot to see, and a lot of different ages can ride it. Even little babies can ride it, and adults enjoy it, so it's definitely one that you are going to want to ride. Something that you should know is that there's no fast passes for Pirates of the Caribbean. And if you want to find out which attractions have fast passes and which don't, you can look on the Disney website, or you can watch my video called Disney FastPass Tips for Beginners. And I will link that. You can click on that, or you can click on it in the description. So just know that there's no fast passes, but that's okay because the line moves relatively fast. Especially if you go during meal times, the line will move a lot faster. So that's my tip. Okay, now I'm going to get into some tips for nighttime at Disneyland. So one thing for all of you ladies out there is if you're wearing shorts, then you might want to bring a pair of leggings to change into for the nighttime, because leggings are lightweight and you can make that change, and it's not that hard of a change, and I think it will keep you warmer. I got really cold this last time. I was in shorts, and it's nice to have a pair of leggings at night, or it would have been nice for me to have a pair of leggings at night. So that is my first nighttime tip at Disneyland. I thought it might be interesting for you all to know what the most common thing is that they have a problem with people bringing in when they first come into Disneyland that they have to take away. And the most common thing that they take away is pocket knives. So if you have a pocket knife, just leave it at the hotel, leave it in your car, don't take it in. They can't hold it for you. So if you try to take it in, they're just going to confiscate it and it becomes theirs. So leave your pocket knife at home. And I thought that that was interesting, that that's the most common thing that gets confiscated and brought in. I wanted to tell you a little bit about a change of heart that I had the last time I visited Disneyland. In my previous video, I talked about how I would get a MaxPass no matter what, and I recommended it for sure. However, this last time when I went to the park, I met up with my husband, and he couldn't come into the park until after 11:30 a.m. And at that point, even though I purchased a MaxPass for him, all of the fast passes were already gone by then. So I think my advice is that if you're gonna come to the park after 11 a.m., I wouldn't get a MaxPass. I definitely had a change of heart about that, because normally I would have said to always get a MaxPass, but with all the fast passes being taken, there really isn't much of a point. I know this tip is obvious, but you wouldn't believe how many people still do it. So my next don't is don't buy your tickets at the gate. And I know it seems like, oh, I wouldn't buy my tickets at the gate. But there's so many people who do. And you can even see in this small video clip, there's tons of people that stand in line for their tickets. So don't be one of those people. The best way to purchase your tickets is to do it through the app. Some of you might say, ooh, but I want to just do it through the website. Well, you can do it through the website, but you are going to have to link your ticket to the app anyway. So why not buy your ticket through the app, have practice using the app, and then if you get a MaxPass, it's so much easier to link your ticket, because all you have to do is just click the link that says link tickets and passes, and it will automatically link to your app after you buy the ticket through the app. If you want to know more about how to buy your ticket through the app, I made an entire screen video that's very detailed, and it's very clear and concise. It's only 4 minutes long. So you can just click that link in the corner, or I will put a link in the description for how to buy your tickets on the app. It's really good to have practice with the app, because you don't want to get through the gate and be learning the app when you're at Disneyland. You want to learn the app a little bit before so that you can navigate it and use it faster when you get to the park. This next section might raise a few eyebrows, because I'm going to say some things that I have never said before in any of my videos. I recognize that this next section will probably be my personal opinion, but I think you, as my fantastic viewers and people who are aware of other people, are going to agree with some of these tips. The tips I'm about to give aren't necessarily directed at you, but they're just general observations that I noticed in the park. things that people did that are really quite rude and bothersome. So I hope you'll forgive me. If you are one of these people that does one of these things that I'm about to mention, then this will be your opportunity to change. I doubt that you are, especially knowing that you're the kind of person who is thoughtful and you like to plan ahead and you're probably aware of your surroundings. It's something that maybe you can observe the next time you go to Disneyland, and then you can comment and let me know if you've seen these things on a recent trip. I noticed that a lot of people will just stop in the middle of a crowded walkway, and it's super frustrating. And I'm sure that even when I had little kids, maybe I did this sometimes, just because I had a little kid who needed something, and I probably did stop in the crowded walkway. So if that's the situation, then I think it's fine. But there's a lot of people who don't have little kids and don't really have a good reason. They just stop in the middle of a crowded walkway, either to look at something on their phone or to set their backpack down and get something out in the middle of the crowded walkway. So I just feel like everyone could use a reminder to not stop in the middle of a large crowded walkway. I saw this a lot, especially at Galaxy's Edge and walking through like the Frontierland area, New Orleans Square, just places where it tends to get a little bit more bottlenecked. So it's an obvious tip, but just a good reminder if you're about to head to Disneyland. Please don't stop in the middle of a crowded walkway. Be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of what's happening around you. Another don't that I have for Disneyland is regarding selfies. And selfies are fun, and I've definitely taken my share of selfies at Disneyland. So I'm not here to judge anyone who wants to take a selfie, but what happens is sometimes people are so busy taking selfies in line that they're not aware of the people behind them, and then they hold up the line. So if you're gonna take a selfie, that's fine. Just make sure to do it at a time when it's a good time, when you're not holding up the line. We were standing in line for Pirates of the Caribbean, and we had a bunch of people in front of us taking selfies. And it wasn't the fact that they were taking selfies, but just the fact that they were unaware that they were holding up the line. So don't take selfies unless it's a good time to take selfies, and that is my tip. Let me know if you have observed the same thing when you're at Disneyland. My next tip is in regards to the little people that we travel with to Disneyland. Many of us are going to be traveling with kids. Some of us won't be. But for those of you who are traveling with children, just remember, have extra patience with your children. The last time I was there, I saw a lot of public shaming of kids, parents yelling at their kids, and there was even one little girl who was 3. Her dad was walking with her in Fantasyland, and she was going like this to his face, kind of hard, which is annoying, to be honest. That's really hard as a parent when you have a kid like slapping you in the face. But the next thing we knew, we turned around and he slapped her in the face really hard in front of everybody. And it just made me really sad because the little girl couldn't have been more than 3 or 4 years old. Sometimes your kids can get really whiny, and sometimes you can get tired. And so if you have to pull them aside to a more private place to discipline them, that's fine. But definitely, it made me sad to see the shaming of children. That is my tip, is just remember to have extra patience with your kids at Disneyland, and yeah, that's my tip. Well, everyone, that concludes my do's and don'ts video for this time. I plan to do a lot more do's and don'ts videos. So if you have any other ideas for content, things you want to know about, please comment below and let me know. I had somebody tell me that they wanted me to do a video about taking babies to Disneyland, tips for taking babies. I think I am going to focus on that. So if you have any other ideas, please comment below and let me know, because I make these videos for you so that you can have a better experience at the theme parks that you visit. So thank you so much for watching Park It Theme Parks Edition. Please subscribe to my channel because I have lots of useful information that I want to give you. And from now on, starting January of 2020, I will be posting every other week. And I'm going to start posting my videos on Wednesday night instead of Friday morning. So every other Wednesday night, you will find great videos from me. I research all my videos. I really take the time to think about what is going to be helpful to you. But I can't make the videos the most helpful they can be unless I get some feedback from you. So please comment, like, share my videos with people who are planning trips to Disneyland. I know all of you know somebody who is going to Disneyland soon. I would love to help them. I would love to help you. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I hope we can connect soon. Thanks.